Greetings to Ladies Meadows Adventures. I'm Jenny, and I am going to be finishing up, hopefully. So I will start off where I last had been. A group of Ukrainian socialists living in refuge camps in post-war Europe had got hold of a copy of the book and immediately understood its profound relevance. Oh, I forgot to start the timer. Give me a minute. It's been a minute, so set. Okay. Now I will read this. However, a group of Ukrainian socialists living in refugee camps in post-war Europe got hold of a copy of the book and immediately understood its profound relevance. They contacted Orwell, who agreed to write the only introduction to Animal Farm. Composed, and who gave them the right to reprint the work in the Ukrainian language for free. This edition was distributed among refugees in Germany, but most copies were seized by the American military authorists. After the war against Hitler was over. Handed over to the Red Army to be burned. States the book fared somewhat better, though it was originally refused by the Dale Press on the absurd grounds that animal stories did not sell well in America. It was denied by Agnes Cameron of the Random House of author H.L.E.S. Pronounce it. Junior. Them a copy. Cameron was a leading communist fellow traveler, and it did eventually see print from Harcourt's race in 1946. By that time, Orwell had only a few years to live and was to exhaust himself physically and mentally by writing and then typing out 1984. The contrast between the two books is an extraordinary one, which partially reflects on Orwell's own race against time. Animal Farm, with its original tongue-in-cheek subtitle, A Fairy Story, is biting out essentially. Whole setting has a reassuring patina. Mr. Jones, the wicked farmer, is also a figure of fear. creatures, most obviously the noble workhorse boxer, has additional pathos and tragedy. In Boxer's case, because of his dumb equation bravery, and they are amusing as well as nasty in their anthropomorphism. Have enjoyed the book for its own sake, heedless of the history of the Soviet Union and its ruthlessness, witless collectivization, and Martin Amis in Monkey has a hilarious passage in which his dumb ox of a narrator, John Self, is given a copy of the novel and laboriously makes the self-same mistake. Before, by contrast, Orwell's made extensive and almost melodramatic use of his own buried knowledge of cruelty and his life. He had witnessed sadistic and authoritarian boys at English boarding schools, again, while serving as a policeman in the colonial Burma, and further as a journalist pretending to be a loser in slums and sweatshops. Gained first-hand experience of the political terror as a fighter against both fascism and Stalinism in Spain. The novel makes a double distillation of every nightmare of monstrous extravagance and powerlessness to which the average human brain is vulnerable. It also makes an utmost sensational attempt to destroy the very concept of hope. Read it first, like its original publisher, Frederick Warburg, were made physically afraid. I still come across students in their 20s who are physically afraid. Across students in their 20s who were terrified by the international reading. The title of the novel was The Last Man in Europe, as if to summarize the utter loneliness and despair of Winston Smith. But it was a stroke of genius that changed this into the almost hagiographic title, often rendered in numbers rather than in Orwell's words, than that we know today, no more than an inversion of the year 1984, in which it was being completed. The date gave an immediacy and urgency to the menace of totalitarian rule. This time, no outright attempt on censorship was undertaken. Instead, there were efforts to make the novel into something that it was not. The Book of the Month Club in the United States, for example, asked that the passage of Emil Goldstein's theory and practice of orthogonal collectivism be dropped because they were too Trotskyist. Oh no, Dad, iPad's low battery. Dad, iPad's low battery. I need to scooch over. Dense. Orwell decided this demand, at the risk of losing a highly lucrative promotion. What I got? Issued a written statement predating those who interpreted or conscripted the novel as an attack on the socialist movement in general, have known continuous neglect and suppression because of his principles. He was to experience a final closing moment of literary success, partially because of those who wished to use his principles against him. In 1984 in England, in order, as he put it, to show that English were no better than anyone else, and that the totalization danger exists everywhere. He was in a strong position to appreciate the irony of this explanation. A later CIA-sponsored cartoon film of Animal Farm, produced for purpose of Cold War propaganda, cut out the closing passage about the restoration of Farmer Jones as head of the farm. That chapter just did not, for the immediate practical purpose, quite fit the needs of the agency. This makes the same point in a slightly different way. Set in England, the book is obviously drawn from Orwell's literary knowledge of Russia and of the Soviet Union. The manipulation of numbers by the authorists, most famously the party's ability to insist that 2 and 2 can, if necessary, make 5. 5, right? Participated in Dostoevsky's notes from Union Underground and evidently Evgeny Zamyatin's dystopian fantasy written in the early years of communism was among the Orwell's acknowledged inspirations. During the hideous part of 5-year plan, it was one point claimed by the authorists that the goal of the plan had been attained early in 2 heroic 2-year spurts. I was sometimes rendered for the Strasbourg believers as 2 plus 2 equals 5. No, it doesn't. It equals 4, right? The world has mysterious ways of living. The novel is full of meaningless accoutrements about the continuous achievement of ridiculous production targets, which form a sort of background noise to the dragness. Shh. Shh. Was full of meaningless accoutrements about the continuous achievement of ridiculous production targets, which form a sort of background noise to the drabness and security of daily life. I'm going to stop it there. As my part 2 of the introduction. There's still more of the introduction, so we'll maybe finish that next time. So subscribe for more, and so also subscribe so we can get to 1,000 subscribers, because that's our goal to starting a beekeeping business. So please hit that subscribe button with your toe if you can, or your pinky, or your nose. Just hit the subscribe button. And also hit the like button if you want to. Or if you like it too. So, and help us get to our goal. Okay. Bye-bye. Dad, you want to do the boop? 3, 2, 1. Boop! Dad, you missed the boot. Dada.
One eternity later.
Dada. Dada. Dad. Dad. Do you want to do the boop? Boop. Boop.